I'm back sick again, guys. It's I don't know. I must have the same like cancer AIDS that like Richard C. Meyer has on diversity and comic or what's he called now? Comics Matter with your boys. You see how like my mind has gone back to 2018, 2017. And it's for good reason because we're gonna get to it in just a minute. But I'm like coughing, I'm dying. Here we are. Thanks for being here. And this gets pretty wild as Shane Davis and Comicsgate have now gone so far against Dan Fraga, a creator who used to be on their shows. They used to be buddy, used to be one of them, and he spoke out against it, spoke out against all their bad behavior. They've been trolling him relentlessly for months. And this is what they do. They set these things up like this and then go, I'm just the innocent victim. What are you talking about? Obviously, Ethan Van Sciver's the master of that. But Shane Davis has learned from his master. He's a little gay Padawan, I guess, to do exactly this kind of thing to people and rile them up, get them angry, get them mad, and then play the victim. It's really, really sad that comics has come to this. Now, back in the day, we're going to talk about this because Shane actually brought up Richard C. Meyer in his video on this, which we're going to watch, and actually brought up how comic pros used to conspire to get him kicked out of cons and the like and get him ruined. And Shane did the exact same thing to Fraga. It's so funny how badly these people project. It's really, really bad. So let's get into this news in just a moment. The audio gets pretty bad. And I will say that like Fraga fell for the trap and he's not ready for this. And there's a conclusion here, which you guys need to hear because it matters with these people. Shane Davis, John Malin, Ethan Van Sciver, they are not in good faith. They're not talking to anybody in good faith, not even to their customers. They milk their customers. They bilk them. They don't work on their projects. They're not actual creatives. They're just people who just are milking super chats on YouTube for as long as it's going to ride. And if you see that and you see that they just want the blood sports, that they don't care about comic books, you can quickly understand where this is all coming from. So I'm building something different, guys. We're building a community that's actually based around comics like Richard C. Meyer and Ethan Van Sciver promised back in 2018. They acted like they were going to have it. They were Splato comics, in all caps comics. We're going to be doing what Marvel and DC said they're going to do. I actually did it. And so both of those guys really tried hard to suppress the channel here, which is great. Because, of course, I didn't end up with a lot of that Spurgy audience that they have. I've got real comic book readers, and it's been amazing. I showed yesterday how I hit 2 Amazon #1 bestsellers last week. I actually got them both. They're still #1 bestsellers. I've held this for 2 days. Very, very fun. Here's one, and there's the other one. If you want to go to my Amazon page, it's in the description below and grab those. Very cool. I've never held 2 at the same time before. This is pretty wild. And for 2 days. So I'm selling a lot of books while these guys are just collecting super chats, not selling anything. If you've seen the latest campaigns, they're failing pretty badly. And they're very butt mad at us over here for telling the truth about what's going on. But what I'm doing is I'm building this Substack out. This is the new thing. Substack, I'm posting a page every single day of comics for free for you. I'm also going to be putting up exclusive comics. I did my first exclusive of Extra Sensory, which ties in Flying Sparks this weekend. And so if you want to become a paid subscriber, support us for $5, you can. If you want to just read, you can. And then, this is building and building and building. And it's growing huge by leaps and bounds because this is the future. Webcomics has always kind of been it. It's not, I've got a 48-hour variant cover that has like a Donald Trump thing on it. I mean, that's cringe, right? And that's exactly what the mainstream industry used to do. Try to sell these as, quote, collectibles that really just clutter up your house. We're selling stories. We're selling real reading. We're selling real comics. And that's what the comic industry doesn't do. So, of course, like some Marvel and DC guys peeling away from the comic industry are not going to actually provide that. They're going to provide what the mainstream comic industry is. It's all they know. They can't help it. That's what they've been doing for decades. But we are doing things different, guys. Thanks for being here. Grab this. Get on here today. And let's take a look at what's going on. So, Student of God talked about this, of course, that this audio that Shane Davis released. Shane Davis has released audio of Dan Fraga mad about Shane lying, yet Shane has yet to admit he lied about Dan Fraga. And that Star Wars World is completely unaware that Shane lied, as he says in the comments here. Pretty interesting stuff. I'm confused what you did that was so wrong. And I don't know if she willfully ignores this stuff or if she's just off in her own world enough not to see it. That seems to be the case. Like, this is the thing with Comicsgate. You don't see it until it hits you, right? And so that's why it's like I try to give grace to people who like finally see it and come over. You don't want to hold them and be like, well, for years you liked this guy. It's like you don't see it until it happens to you is really what happens. So I try to give grace. Hopefully that Star Wars girl will come around and get out of this at some point. Because she doesn't need to be around these losers. They're just sinking anyway, so it doesn't matter. And here's some of the lying that's been going on here. And this came from Saturday. So Shane Davis claimed that he was eating a sandwich and busy, and Dan Fraga came up and tried to shake his hand and tried to dial things down, and that Shane just didn't have the time, and it was just weird, man. And then they acted like they were victims all weekend. So if you see what they did, they live streamed about Fraga all weekend, lying about him, calling him dangerous, malicious, etc. They did this. They made lies about what was happening, which was recorded. His wife went out onto X saying it's too dangerous for her to go to conventions because Dan Fraga might shake Shane's hand. I mean, this was going on all weekend. So they were building it up in this guy's mind all weekend. Now, Fraga made a giant mistake, and that's one, listening to all the content. And the other big one here is taking these guys at their word, like they're professionals, like they're ingenuous people. They are disingenuous, and so Fraga messed up big for the optics because all he did is rile up Comicsgate people to defend Shane. Now after this, Fraga tried one more time to talk to Shane Davis, being like, okay, after Shane, again, maligned him all weekend, and it has been maligning him for months. Ethan Van Sciver's been maligning him for months. The guy's getting fed up with it. He's like, I'm a professional artist too. We should be able to, and it is frustrating, right? As a comic creator, you sit there and go, you should be able to talk this out. What are they doing? Like, we're supposed to be on the same side. I understand that feeling, and I understand like how hard it is. But if you're in a spot, and he kind of boomered out here, where you're actually getting mad about it and you get mad at the internet, you lose. And so I learned very long ago that, as I said, Ethan Van Sciver, Shane Davis, John Malin, they're not serious people. They do not care. They're not interested in building bridges. They're not interested in treating people with professional cordiality. They're not interested in being professional comic creators. They are just out there running a circus for a bunch of like low IQ monkeys who are sending them super chats, who basically came from Dick Masterson's Bloodsports audience on the internet. That's all they're trying to do at this point, and milk that as long as it possibly can go, because they don't want to work, is what it comes down to. These guys are lazy bums and they just don't want to work. I'll call it like it is. And so if you treat them with like human professional dignity, like you would expect, and expect to get that back, well, if their narrative is they need to cancel you, they're just going to rile you up further to try to cancel you. They have no interest in actually building something, creating a comic book friendly movement. I mean, it's very short-sighted of them because they're running out of gas. You can see that they're not even selling anything in their campaigns. Shane Davis is faking numbers on his own website to try to make his campaign look better than it actually is. Not going well. But you can't treat them like they're going to come around on anything like that. You just can't. I tried to be nice to Ethan Van Sciver, and I look, as a Christian guy, when somebody comes to me and says, I'm sorry, let's move on, let's build something together. I tried for years for that, and the guy eventually just started going off on live streams, just attacking me, just like he does everybody else, because this is what he does. And so I understand that desire, and it makes sense, and it's actually good. It means you're a good person, Dan Fraga, at the bottom of it, that you get frustrated with that. Unfortunately, he gotcha, and this is kind of where it's at. And this gotcha is exactly what Shane Davis will say was happening to your Boi Zack, except for Dan Fraga is the your Boi Zack in this situation, which is really interesting. So let's take a look at this and the video he posted yesterday. Remember, he's been making content all weekend on this, and this is the new one where he cries victim after all of it. Yes.
Hello, guys. I am Shane Davis. I am here addressing something that just seems like it's going to have to be addressed. This isn't something that is I'm comfortable with, but
he needs to mine this for content. It's okay. I'm mining it for content too, because he's the real scumbag here. This is the thing.
Sometimes it's not about my comfort level. It's about what actually probably needs to be dealt with. And in the case of this last weekend, I attended Heroes Comic Con, which is a con I've been going to since I was 13 years old. Marvel editors, stuff like that, and my portfolios with, whether it be Harris Comics, Marvel editors, stuff like that. And
I'm with Marvel and DC Comics. You see, it's all built on credentialism, and that way they stay in their little fiefdoms because nobody else is going to get hired by Marvel and DC Comics because they blacklist everybody who's not a weird transgender activist now. It's a very, very good scam.
meeting people like Joe Quesada, Todd McFarlane, Alex Ross.
He's name dropping Joe Quesada, Todd McFarlane, Alex Ross, when those people want nothing to do with him.
Even.
By the way, Todd McFarlane did an interview on my channel. Go look for it.
I remember getting my first 2 issues of Kingdom Come signed by Alex Ross and Mark Waid at the time. So this is a favorite con of mine, and for people that are within, I guess, the comic skate circle, you'll realize there's been like an issue with me and a comic artist named Dan Fraga.
Yeah, an issue that you started because you guys canceled him really, really hard because he was not going along with the canceling of other people. And that's exactly what's now perpetuated across this whole deal. So Dan Fraga was mad that they were canceling some people who they were supporting. And he's like, wait a minute, why are they canceling my friends? And he voiced that. And so they went wall to wall canceling him after that. Then after he gets a little mad at it, they agitate him more. And then people see that who like Dan Fraga, they leave the Comicsgate deal. They say this is too much for me. And those people then get canceled. You've seen with just some minor YouTubers and comic creators, Richard Embry and John Longbox this week, who are great guys, who are wonderful comic creators. They've been under attack by these people as well. They're losing everybody because of their behavior. But you notice how they just act like they didn't do anything here. They act like, oh, I just have an issue with Dan. It's just a personal thing that Dan doesn't like me. I guess I don't know why. You'd have to be really, really stupid or just have never followed along to believe this at this juncture. And that's what he's counting on. It's really crazy. So it gets really interesting right here, though.
It seemed to kind of come up out of nowhere to me, anyways.
Again, this has been all weekend. Dan tried to shake his hand. He flipped out on the internet. His wife said that she was being not safe to go to Comic Cons because of that. These guys knew each other for years. It's not like he's some random person. They used to stream together all the time. And then him and John Malin and Ethan Van Sciver canceled Dan Fraga a couple months ago really, really hard. And so Dan is trying to just like be like, okay, let's be professionals together. And he made the mistake of actually caring about Shane Davis, like, because he thought he was a friend, and 2, made the mistake that he's taking it very, very seriously, and you'll see that very shortly.
Out of the blue, and it seemed to be at first Dan complaining about a lot of other people's grievances, and we were supposed to have like what was called.
Yeah, he brushes that. He's just complaining about other people's grievances. Yeah, you have a whole cancel pig operation where you guys do this whole trash cast BS all the time, Shane, over and over and over again, and people are seeing through it at this point. This is why your campaign's failing right now.
A man-to-man conversation at South Carolina Comic Con, and I was hit up with tons of people saying there's no way you're going in off-record conversation with Dan because basically you can just walk away and say whatever, and make up shit that I said. So through DMs of concerned fans, I found a recorder that I could wear around my keychain.
Look at how edited this is. You saw those little skips there? This guy can't even do this without writing a script and editing because he's trying to present a narrative that's false. I don't edit shit here. That's why I sound terrible and I'm sick and I just ramble and go all the time because I just present my unfiltered stuff. These guys are fake. It's so ridiculous.
And I am within my legal rights to record within those 2 states.
So he recorded Dan Fraga without Dan Fraga knowing that he was being recorded here. Yay. Oh, that's cool. So he agitated him on purpose. And you're going to see real quick that this was a very clipped edit. And he clipped it where Dan Fraga made some comments that sound really bad. And I'm not going to say that they don't sound really bad. I think he was freaking stupid to say this. I think he was freaking stupid to get mad and upset with things. But at this end, never get mad at the internet. But it was clipped and it was dishonest, as it did not present even a half of the conversation here, which he did intentionally. And his fans are going to be too stupid that they will figure this out.
Now, I have made Dan aware of this. The issue with this video is basically where I stand at personal grievances being dealt with on the convention floor. Now, I have a history of this, believe it or not.
No, they just go on YouTube where they've got their audience. They can ban anybody in their chat and then just completely make personal grievances with everybody where they're cowards. And then they hide on the internet and block everybody who disagrees with them. Yeah, that's exactly what they are. Shane Davis is a giant coward. He's a loser, and that's exactly why he's in this situation right here. And he likes to talk smack and attack creators all day long. That's it. I'll call it like it is. I'm not afraid to do so. And I'll tell him that at the convention, too, if he wants. He'll probably call security on me like Heather Antos did, right? I showed up to San Diego Comic-Con. Oh, no, that's scary. I had a press pass and everything because I'm one of the most important journalists in comics. But, hey, better ban that guy. Yeah, that's what you want. So he's going to talk about Richard C. Meyer and how all this started in 2018 when Richard C. Meyer, we found a group of comic professionals who were conspiring to get him banned from New York Comic Con. And they said they were going to goad Richard C. Meyer into throwing a punch at the time. And there's B. Clay Moore was involved with this. Jody Hauser was involved with this. Taylor Espinoza, whoever the letterer is, he was involved with this. There were a couple other names. And unfortunately, the screenshot, I don't save any of this stuff. I'm not an autist. Sorry. We did have it up on PJ Media in an article for a while. Unfortunately, that's gone now. So that screenshot doesn't exist. And he's going to talk about this screenshot and where it all came from. It came from me. Again, the most important journalist in comics because I've covered this stuff forever and I do pay attention. I got a insider in that group and got it screenshotted for me and got that out and broke that story. When I broke that story and then got it to PJ Media with Megan Fox, we then used the hashtag Comicsgate. So I'm not saying this to brag about that being a good thing. I'm just saying I apologize, everybody. Comicsgate is actually my fault. Now, again, these guys are so short-sighted and so stupid that they've got like a mega journalist who's really good at uncovering this stuff and really good at building this kind of thing, which is a content farm in and of itself. If you want to look at my Fandom Pulse Substack, we have comic stories every day. These guys could be mining and going at the SJWs, going at the woke activists who are still just as crazy as ever, maybe even worse, and making video after video on that, and then selling comic books to the conservatives, the Christians who are actually trying to oppose that as a coalition. That's how it all started. Now, they abandoned that for just attacking other conservative and Christian creators over and over and over again. Stupid. And then going at me and instead, it's like, you morons, if you helped build me up, which they did for a little bit before they couldn't help it anymore. Ethan doesn't like people selling too many books, and I've been selling more books than these guys. That's a crime, right? That's why Eric July is on target number 1. He sells more books than all these guys. And so it could have, what could have been, it's very, very sad because these guys just like narcissistic personalities. Very, very sad. Now, ironically, we talked about this Richard C. Meyer situation. This is exactly what Shane did. When Shane gets into this, and he'll go, I can't find the screenshot. I don't know where it came from. People accuse me of the screenshot. It wasn't Shane Davis. It came from me, Shane Davis. You can credit me. He's too afraid to say my name. All these people have been given orders by Ethan Van Sciver not to say my name, and they're little scared little bitches, as we know about that. So I broke that screenshot. I broke this story, and it was a big deal, and it went mega viral. It propelled diversity in comics into the big channel it is. Yes, your Boi Zack's my fault too. I actually wrote articles about him at the Federalist to follow up on it, and I'm sorry that I did that, guys. But I made him into the channel he is. I really did. And so this is where it all went. And so this was what the movement was supposed to be about the entire time. And let's get past all this into the Dan Fraga deal. This is B. Clay Moore saying, way to support the community in the face of harassment, brother. Because he said, if you're trying to provoke somebody into taking a swing, please do it outside of the con. Well, that's pretty interesting, as Shane Davis is about to attempt to provoke Dan Fraga so he could get a clip for his show. That's exactly the same thing. He literally did the meme of what these guys were doing back then. I mean, this is crazy that he actually shows the evidence like that he likes this. If you're going to provoke somebody into taking a swing, do it outside the con. And he's trying to then get Dan Fraga to react by making videos after videos after videos and then going, why would you bring this into the con, bro? And when you treat somebody like they're stupid like that, they're going to get frustrated. So this goes on, and he's got his little clip here. Let's play the clip. Like I said, Dan took the bait, and this is where Dan Fraga screwed up so big. Dan, no. But this is bait, and it is exactly what happened. This is the Richard C. Meyer situation. Shane Davis is B. Clay Moore in this situation. It's ironic, and it's honest because he's a leftist at his core. So is John Malin. So is Ethan Van Sciver. These are not right wing people, guys. They've grifted off of it, but they're not right wing people. Let's listen to the audio because you'll see where it's clipped.
Really have a confrontation. Now, what's going to play here is the snippet of the audio from
Snippet of the audio. Why don't you play the whole audio, Shane?
The confrontation. And the reason I'm having issues with this is I basically had to ask people not to call security on Dan after this. Now, what you're going to hear is
that was cut too. You see, he cut there, so he could add the little lie in about, I had to really get people down about Dan Fraga, man.
heated debate where I'm talking about how because of the stuff he's acting like leading up to cons, South Carolina Comic Con, and even at the con, where somebody's recording behind my booth and posting videos out online coming up to my booth, that this type of stuff keeps my wife from going to cons. Because
Oh yeah, totally reasonable that they just worked all weekend on a narrative saying the guy's dangerous, and then did this to him. So this is exactly where it's going to go. Stop talking, Shane.
Doesn't exist.
Right, okay.
I'm being aggressive with you now, and you can totally fucking make content out of this. tell people I called you a fucking cunt.
Okay.
So you see, it's right in the middle of it. He waits till he's already agitated. What did Shane say before this to get him agitated? What was talked about here? Well, apparently they were talking about their books. They were talking about things going on and talking about the live stream content and the like. And he cuts that out because Dan sounds reasonable about that. And Shane just goes, and it doesn't look good for him. At this point, then Dan loses it because you've got somebody lying to who you like think is a friend and you think is somebody you should be a friend and should be respecting you. I know that feeling again. Dan, you messed up. If you're getting mad at the internet, you're going to lose the optics war is what it comes down to. And it's sad because, again, these guys put such shady stuff into this whole weekend to get to this point. And if he just walked away after the handshake and just laughed about it and just mocked him, we'd have a different conversation this morning. But instead, these guys got to grift off of it. It's very sad.
I'm calling you a cunt.
Everything's documented, dude. It's
I don't
fine.
care. You're a fucking cunt.
Okay, everything's
what you did was wrong.
Okay.
What you did was wrong, Shane.
Okay.
Yeah, believe it.
Dan, here's my read.
Here's your read. What is it?
My read is my wife didn't come because of the shit you pulled.
Shit I pulled. What shit I pulled?
I'm going to see you at a time.
Okay, and then
So my wife
you
doesn't
be very
Yeah, right. That's not what happened. We know it. That's a lie.
peaceful in SC.
She doesn't come to these times.
No, whatever. We'll talk about your wife. You actually did not your wife. Every night with your screams, guys.
Okay, well, anyways, you see all these books here?
They're beautiful.
Yeah, and whose names are on them?
Both.
No. Okay, and guess who's not coming?
Shane?
Okay.
What are you trying to do, though?
I'm not trying to do anything.
He's treating Dan like he's stupid, and it's frustrating Dan even more. And Shane knows full well he's trying to mine this for content. You can see him on the left here. He's stoked about this because he's getting the best views his channel's gotten in a long time. It's very sad.
Well, my kids aren't here because...
Well, dude, I mean, where's your crowdfunding books on your table, man?
Ooh, I'm gonna fuck you up.
Hey,
What's gonna happen?
What's going on?
What's gonna happen?
Hey, how are you?
What is gonna happen?
So there it is, and that's
my kids aren't.
That's the comment. I'm going to slow it down here because he says, "Ooh, I'm going to fuck you up," and it's obviously not a threat. He's obviously not. You could hear the tone of voice. He's not going, "Oh, I'm going to fuck you up." It's him mocking Shane in like that's Shane's voice because Shane has said that about other people at different cons before. And so listen to it again.
Here because
well, dude, I mean, where's your crowdfunding books on your table, man?
Ooh, I'm gonna fuck you up.
Names are on them. Both. No. Okay, and guess who's not coming?
Shane?
Okay.
What are you trying to do, though?
I'm not trying to do anything.
Guess what? My kids aren't here because...
Well, dude, I mean, where's your crowdfunding books on your table, man?
Ooh, I'm gonna fuck you up.
Hey,
what's
dude,
gonna happen?
what's going on?
What's gonna happen?
Hey.
There it is. And so it's ridiculous. Unfortunately, he now has that clip, and now he's just going around saying, "Oh, he just said I'm going to F you up, and I was the victim here." And clearly, you hear Shane. He goes, "Where's the crowdfunding books on your table, bro?" They're talking about books, and it's like, and then Dan Fraga is mocking the incident when Shane actually said that he was going to do that to this guy called PTP at a different con. But Shane's leaving all that out because you have to like actually know all the situation, know all the lore to get that. And it's disingenuous and it's a complete lie. This is everything that these guys do. It is disingenuous. It is a complete lie. And that's what we have going on here. Unfortunately, Dan Fraga gave him the clip. You have to be a little smarter than that when you're dealing with these narcissistic psychopaths. You really do, because they are not there just to talk to you, to treat you like a professional or to care about comic books. They're there to mine the content is what it comes down to. And that's all it is. And so very sad that this all happened. And yeah, this is more of Comicsgate. This is why this movement just fell apart and why it's such a destructive disaster at this juncture. And unfortunately, we got to make comics great again. And it's very, very difficult because I know a lot of you guys here are just here for the Comicsgate drama content and the like, but we have to get back to reading again. Reading is so important, makes everybody smarter, makes everybody have more fun, makes for a better community. And of course, we have a great community here. My folk who are in my Discord, who are here full time, who are on the comic Substack, are loving what's going on here because we're just building and building and building. This is everything these guys promised and never delivered. And it's right here. and no Marvel and DC pros are involved in this, which is great. That's a good thing. That's a selling point, guys, because they're all crazy, right? So check this out. It's in the description below. You get free comics every single day, and thank you for being here. What do you think about this? Leave a comment. Hit the like and subscribe button. We'll be back soon.